And
Hello. This is Ignacy Trzewiczek from Portal Games.
And I think I'm Corey, and I do something.
this is the Podfather of gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 406. And it's February 3rd for some of us, or February 4th for one of us, 2006. Board, Board Games Insider, powered by Board Game Geek. So, so everybody out there, why was that such a bizarre beginning? It's because, yes, well, for the Podfather, it is February 4th, because I am in Australia. I'm in Brisbane, Australia, to be exact. I was in, well, we'll tell you about the background there. And the boys are where they usually are. And we're recording at usual time, but this is the only time we could do it because we're at these crazy I'm at a crazy location, so I'm going to talk less. You guys are going to talk more, uh, and maybe I'll slow down like they were slow. So you can honestly just say something.
I just want to say that in my one of my favorite TV shows, Friends, there is one of the best jokes ever with the time differences when one of the characters, Joey, doesn't understand the time difference. So going with this vibe, if there is a 4th of February already at your place, can you give us some stock market tips so we can invest?
Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't
And
mind that.
that's not the way it works.
Okay. And going back to business, Portal Games, my team came back from Nuremberg Fair. A reminder to all the listeners that we are doing it for the 15 years. This is the beginning of the year B2B show when partners are meeting and talking about the upcoming releases. My team was presenting our SN release to our partners, and the feedback I got yesterday from when they came back is that the feedback was very positive. So without even announcing the game yet, because it will happen later this month, I can already announce there will be more than one English and one Polish edition because some of the partners were already interested and nothing signed yet, obviously, but the feedback is very positive. So I'm very happy. It is always very important for Portal Games. Our business model is that we release games in Polish, in German, and in English, and then with a couple of other languages, and this is our main business plan, I would say. So kudos to my team that was working there for the almost whole week in Nuremberg. For you, our fans in Europe and in America, we continue to promote Neuroshima Hex Anniversary Edition. Short reminder, big release of, for us, very important, the big change in the gameplay of the game. You are now playing on the Battle Atlas. This is the 8 very different scenarios that you can play them over and over again, not one time. And we were inspired by the great games like Mandalorian from Corey Kniczka or Mass Effect from Eric Lang. So the games that offer the book with the different atlases, different maps, and this gives a lot of replayability. So all of you who played Neuroshima Hex on your app for years, on your planes and in your travels, and now Neuroshima Hex Anniversary Edition with this brand new amazing feature, check out shop portalgames.pl and .com and see what's there. And besides that, we are preparing for the release of the Race to Berlin and other things. Basically, on the one hand, slow period of time for our company. On the other hand, because we have these delayed products from the last year, we have something to offer to you. Hiroshima Hex Anniversary Edition, Race to Berlin, and Wireman. That's it from me. As always, I recommend check out the Portal Games vlog. Almost every week, every Wednesday, I talk with fans and talk what's happening. And as Steven always said at the end of the show, but today he may be already sleeping at the end of show. So I will remind that you can follow me on Twitter and see what's happening at Portal Games or Blue Sky or Facebook, etc., etc. And on my Instagram, I posted a mandatory, obligatory photo of me and the cookies I received at PortalCon the craziness happens every single year. I love this tradition. And thank you to all the fans who bring like really dozens of cookies for me.
Oh man, I got to get a thing. I'm very jealous of the cookies. I just want to put out there that I love marzipan. For no
Oh
reason
yeah.
whatsoever.
For no reason.
So it's been busy over here. I should say, having known Steven a very long time, he does not deal well with staying up late. He turns into a pumpkin, at his bedtime, which was probably about 3 hours ago for him.
Something
So
like that.
we're keeping an eye here. I think every once in a while, Ignacy, we should just randomly scream if he looks like he's kind of nodding off.
I want to say, our listeners, this may be the most important episode for you to watch on a YouTube channel, Bonacor, a YouTube channel which is Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel,
That's right.
because you will see Steven falling asleep for the whole hour. It's gonna be super
I
funny, I
think
think.
so. So I've just been traveling like crazy. Over the past, I'm gonna say, uh 2 weeks, and I'm right in the middle of it. I'm going to be traveling by car about 2,500 miles, which is about 4,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
So last week I drove down to Vegas, uh, and ate some amazing food and saw an absolutely incredible concert. I had a unique opportunity. I was invited to VIP backstage seats at the Eagles concert at the Sphere,
So
and
jealous.
got to wander around backstage and meet everybody involved and see all the tech involved. It was absolutely incredible. The concert was amazing, and everybody behind the scenes running it was so spectacularly nice. It was really cool to see how all that's running. And then uh, on Thursday, so 2 days from now, I'm going to be driving north to Seattle to visit various friends. I'm going to be visiting Daryl Andrews, who's recently moved from the east coast of Canada to the west coast of Canada. And I'm going to be visiting various Gen Con people and doing all sorts of Gen Con business. So it's been travel, 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 but fun, having a good time. Um, Finally, got some audiobooks listened to that have been on the list for a while. Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is starting to get into board game news because various role-playing games and tabletop games are being announced licensed to Dungeon Crawler Carl. And yeah, it's going to be a good IP. I enjoyed it. So
Very, very good. And thank
Steven,
you.
it's your turn now.
Yeah, it's my
yeah, speak, do the mouth thing.
okay. Very briefly, I am in Brisbane, Australia. For the previous 3 days before this, I was in Sydney, Australia. We landed there and toured the city, had a great time there. Now 3 days in Brisbane, and from and yeah, to drop off, I saw a friend here, a local friend today, Aos James. He goes to
Oh, love AOS.
yeah,
Awesome.
isn't he
I met
great?
him at Gathering of Friends. Yeah.
Yes, he says hello to both of you. We had dinner last night um, with at a brewery, Paula and I, and he just reached out and said, "Hey, I heard you're going to be in Brisbane. Would you would you like to hang out?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So that was really nice.
That's amazing.
Tomorrow gonna have dinner. I think yeah, dinner. I'm sure with Martin Wallace, famous designer, of course. Martin, who's done a million games over the last 30 years. And after that, I'm going to see a whole bunch of people from the Pandemonium Institute who make Blood on the Clock Tower.
Oh,
They're
nice.
they're local here, and we're gonna be play testing a Martin's game that he might be doing with them. I don't know much about it, but we're gonna play test it. But we're also then not Martin, but everybody, the Pandemonium guys, myself, Jeff Anderson is running Blood on the Clock Tower cruise. So that's the main reason we came down. 6 nights in Queensland. Um, and from there, we're going to fly over to New Zealand to see Hobbiton, like a special VIP tour. Then we're gonna fly back and get on another cruise in Sydney. that goes to New Zealand, 12 nights around New Zealand and see all the ports of New Zealand. The special flight over to New Zealand we're doing because when the ship gets in at the port of Tauranga, we're not going to have enough time to get to Hobbiton. So we arranged this really great behind the scenes tour. So that's what we're doing for the next 30 days, basically, the last 4 and then the next 26 days. An epic trip here down under. And with that low energy statement,
I want to, I want, no, no, I, no, 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 no. I want to note down. This was the most, least exciting announcement of having a dinner with Mr. Martin Wallace. This is embarrassing. Like, this is the Martin Wallace. And
I
you were
will,
just like, oh, I'm going to have a dinner with him. Dude,
yes, dude. You know, Martin and I go back. We've had many dinners. It's, well, anyway, let's get over to. See, you guys can make fun of me like crazy today, and I'm not going to be able to fight back. To take all your shots you want.
We
Let's
like to
get,
kick him while he's down.
that's right. Let's get to the event deck. All right. So, of course, we have to have a complicated news story to make me crazy here and see if I can digest some of this one. And this
Not a
is
problem.
and this has to do with it's a lawsuit against Hasbro for
From, yeah. So,
because of Magic is being mismanaged. It's coming from the shareholders, a group of shareholders who got together and are now suing Hasbro. Let me read a little bit of this, and then we can comment a bit. A recent lawsuit against Magic the Gathering owner Hasbro claims the company executives conducted gross mismanagement, breached their fiduciary duties, and performed unjust enrichment by overproducing cards for the popular game. This comes off of Gizmodo.com. Filed in Rhode Island on Wednesday, on January 21st, the executives, CEO Chris Cooks, several current and past board members, and former Wizards of the Coast president Cynthia Williams, we've mentioned her coming and going at Wizards of the Coast, are being sued by Joseph Crocono and Alton McGlone, who've held shares since early 2020s. The pair claim that the comments made during Hasbro's shareholders call between 2021 and 2023 were materially false and misleading and caused the company substantial harm by causing it to repurchase its own shares at an artificially inflated price. So, um, so the claim is that they've overproduced the game. Um,
yeah,
and I,
this is
go ahead.
the whole issue that you always have with um, collectible games, with TCGs, is how much do you print to retain value of the cards, both in your primary market and your secondary market. There's a whole issue of the glory of Magic the Gathering is if you overprint sets, then it loses value because people get less interested and it affects the power shift and everything like that. So what they're focusing on is there was a 2022 report from Bank of America that warned that there was an oversupply of Magic cards, and it
and we
warned
reported on
that
that.
they were overprinting. Yeah, yeah. So they're talking back to that and saying that Hasbro purposefully lied during shareholder meetings, saying they weren't doing it, but in fact were continuing to overprint. It's that balance. If you print more, you'll sell more, so you'll make more immediate money. But if you print more, you'll kill the value of the property, which will kill stock prices. Um, so it's shenanigans from within Hasbro and everybody arguing about how much is too much. But it's gone to full-blown lawsuit, culminating in Hasbro buying back a tremendous amount of their own stock at inflated prices to manipulate the stock price.
Very good, high energy that you got there, Corey. Very good, very good.
I,
Um,
I sound really excited this time. I don't know why.
so now the next story is actually some very bad news within the industry. This comes off of many media sources, but Board Game Wire is the one that we're going to be quoting here, and this is let me get right to the article. This is veteran Dice Tower reviewer Sam Healey resigns in the wake of saying Alex Preddy and Renee Good were to blame for ice killing them after comments began impacting the review giant's annual pledge drive. So our friend Mike covered this story in depth, all of it coming off of various other pieces of social media. And he wrote that Sam Healey, veteran Dice Tower reviewer, who has contributed to the channel for much of the last 20 years, has resigned after comments he made blaming Alex Preddy and Renee Good for their deaths at the hands of ICE agents began to impact the company's annual crowdfunding pledge drive. And just to people understand that, Dice Tower does a Game Found campaign every year, and they were in the midst of that, and Sam was making these comments. Healey posted on Facebook, and in the comments section of the Dice Tower's Game Found campaign yesterday, to say he was stepping down from his paid part-time role at the business, adding that site founder Tom Vassell was, quote, not putting me up to this. He said, I do not want my friends to suffer any longer. Those of you who have canceled your support because of my presence can feel free to back them once again. They deserve it, and you know it. He continued, they provide so much content and they do a great job with everything from daily content creation to putting no less than 3 conventions and a cruise on each year. And they deserve your support, is basically what he was coming from, saying that, since he's gone and you removed your support, that you should bring it back. So, yeah, this is very, very sensitive.
There was a noticeable drop on support after Sam's comments, and people, there were a lot of comments. There was a lot of furor going on the forums. So this is Sam taking it on his own initiative to remove and distance himself from the Dice Tower. There is a little bit of an update that happened just a few days ago. The pledge drive closed just a tiny bit down from last year. And Tom had actually made a comment. He said, we are a gaming channel, and my goal is to keep it that way. We are not a political, religious, philosophical, or any other type of channel. Talk to me in person, and I have thoughts and opinions on many subjects, but that's not what we want on the Dice Tower channel. We want it to be singularly about gaming.
Yeah. So this is obviously very sensitive and very, very touchy topic. I know Sam very, very well. I've known him for many years. I like Sam, but his comments were sadly way out of line, way out of step with the way most people believe and what they see with their own eyes is going on, has gone on, continues to go on in Minneapolis. The chips have to fall where they may. If you're going to make comments like, "Well, it was the victim's fault," well, you're gonna get yourself in a lot of trouble for saying things like that. So I'm sorry it's had to come down to this, where he has to leave a good position for him, good for a lot of people. But you can't victim blame. As simple as that. And when watching with our own eyes what we see going on in Minneapolis, it's a very sad thing. Anything else comment on that, or is everybody gonna make me in my sleep deprived state be the only person commenting here?
No, I think you've covered it pretty well.
All right. All right. Corey,
So next up,
yes, why don't you?
this was an interesting one that was sent to me from listener Amit Jain. It was sent to me, just me, not you, me,
Not me.
because I'm the important one here. So the story is that NPR has contracted an Exploding Kittens game, and this comes off of the NPR website. Uh, Planet Money and Exploding Kittens are teaming up to make a game. It needs to be fun and also about economics. This turns out to be hard, and they're asking for input back and forth from the community. So it says, submit your card ideas for the Planet Money game. Krakens, fairies, elves, and a golden goose. We want your creative creature suggestions for our game. So it's really interesting that something as large as NPR, National Public Radio in the US, is contracting a board game, for one of their shows. The show is Planet Money, an economics show. So this comes off of the NPR website. There is a longer website, but with a Google search, it should be pretty easy to find. So yeah, NPR and Exploding Kittens getting together for an economics game.
Yeah, kind of odd that NPR would even think about doing a game, period. And then how did they find and get to Exploding Kittens to become part of this thing? So interesting. Like to hear that the more we go mainstream, the better for everybody, I think.
There are a number of audio podcasts specifically about the making of this board game, the most recent of which dropped on January 16th.
Very, very cool. All right, because we can't have any episodes go by without a little bit of diamond news. We're going to go very
I
briefly.
put it in just for you.
You know, it's funny because I saw the article and I'm like, enough. This doesn't matter. But really, really, really briefly, I promise. Diamond
It's a
holds.
summary article.
Yeah, it's a very quick one. Diamond holds nearly $50 million in publishers' consignment inventory and other numbers from the latest bankruptcy filing. So $50 million is what the value is of all of that inventory that we've been talking about.
50.
50 million US dollars is the value of this inventory. And that's just insane that would be the case. By the way, this is off of ICV2. And this inventory is still in mediation on whether they're going to release it or not. And we're not going to hear anything about that for a while. But now we found the actual number that we're talking about here, and
The
it's
number is so much
insane.
higher than I thought it was. So in the January 27th filing, Diamond declared it holds $47,395,014 at book value in consignment inventory, retail value over $113 million.
That's insane. I just
This is
it's staggering amount of
this
money
is
that
why
they're
the
just holding back.
publishers
Yeah.
are publishers aren't complaining about, $1,000 here, $1,000 there, which is,
hmm
notable. This is an insane amount.
Right. Exactly. All right. And then on the good news in gaming, we have the French Board Game of the Year award.
Yeah, the
Uh,
As Dior, the Golden Award. Uh, I personally consider the As Dior one of the higher regarded board game awards. Certainly, we talk all the time about the Spiel des Jahres as the gold standard award in board gaming, and we have Origin Awards and BGG Awards and Dice Tower Awards and all these. As Dior, I consider up there. So, this article, which comes from Board Game Wire, France's biggest board game award changes the rules for 2026 and is now requiring entries to name artists on their box. So, most board games do have artist name and designer name on the box, but not all. And it's now a requirement to be eligible for the As Dior in 2026. There must be an artist name on the box, which I think is great. It's more credit being rightfully put forward on
mhm.
the actual media.
If I
That's
may,
yep.
because I think of course, I agree that this is a great step. My only concern is that shouldn't it be announced that the publishers have a time to adjust? I mean, this is not super good that publisher has no artist on the box cover, but now it's too late even to change it, right? So maybe they should announce it that in the upcoming years it will change. So great step. I don't know if it is not too rushed. On a funny note, I myself won uh, this award a couple of years ago for Detective, and Detective has no artist on the cover, because we used just the in-house people, and they were just listed in the rulebook because we didn't hire like a freelance artist. It was done in-house, and we didn't put artists on the cover, so I would not win the award back then. Obviously now we have artists on every single cover, Bohemians, etc., etc.
Right, right. You will wonder how you could deal with that. What if multiple people did the art for the game? What if multiple people um did the cover art? Because that's possible. It could be pieces of
Yeah,
art from
for
many people.
detective, yes, for detective, because it's a detective game, so we were using basically photos, and then in the Photoshop, obviously, we were adjusting them for the plot of the game. But there was no per se artist because they were just modified photos, and they were just modified by my in-house team. There was no per se artist.
Right.
So here's the first edge case for the
Edge.
possible award, if
There
this is
you go.
happening right now, right?
That's exactly right.
It is really interesting the timing of this because this article uh, came out on the 29th of January, and the As Dior winners are being announced February 26th. So if the
Yeah,
timing
that's what
really
I'm
is,
saying.
yeah, accurate to this, then they're saying everybody has to have an artist name on the box. And by the way, we're saying our winners in less than a month.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That there should be give a
Yeah.
year prepare.
Yeah. It should have been a statement for this year for in future years. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we can't speak for them. We don't know. But that's all the news. Let's get over to strategy and tactics. All right, our first question here is from our good friend Ben Stein at Ben1Music on BGG. And Ben asks, do you take any steps or precautions to reduce the chances of getting a cold or other virus after a board game convention? Do you find that it's hard to avoid getting sick if you're going to get sick? Do you find that you've built up a tolerance against infectious illnesses after attending many conventions? It's a funny thing.
Yeah,
I used to say to my that I had a constitution of stone because I never got sick. I never got the con crud. I mean, very, very rarely would it happen to me that I would come, a couple of days after a convention. Oh God, I got the cold. I don't feel well. Um, I think as I got older, things might have changed a little bit. Your system does change. I don't. I mean, I take the normal precautions of any time I'm in big groups. You wash your hands more, you use some sanitizer. I guess we
absolutely.
learned a lot during COVID. That's about all I do. I'm good. And do you guys do
It's
anything?
For yes,
not
for us,
anything
if I
dramatic for me.
for me, if I may say, for a regular, let's say, local convention, there is nothing that we do extra. But for the big shows like the Essen for us, my whole team is briefed that they need to bump up their protection, that they get some vitamins before. The whole team has pills for the throat because we talk a lot at the show. So we bump up a little bit of protection of our team before Essen. And during the SN they also like get some stuff to be stronger. But this is just for the biggest event of the year where you have to be, and you have to be in a great shape, and then you will meet tons of people.
And I do think that I go to enough shows that I have boosted up my immunity. Just being exposed to things all the time. I rarely get con crud, but I'm going to shows all the time. I do protect my throat more because these shows tend to be loud, and in loud rooms, you tend to scream. And when you scream all day long, you lose your voice. And certainly that makes it a little more susceptible to catching things. So I try to focus on not screaming constantly. Don't worry if, I don't feel a need to continually talk during these loud conventions. And I'll take cough drops and things to protect my throat.
That is one thing that happens to me at every convention. I lose my voice. By the end of the show, I'm croaking, even worse than I sound right now. Um, but it doesn't I don't seem to get sick because of it. I get louder and louder as the ambient sound gets louder and I do lose my voice. I have what I call it my Sunday voice for conventions. It's not pretty. Adam C, who's at SETI on BGG, he asks, what is the heaviest game you play regularly? If Steven answers War of the Ring or Terraforming Mars, he's obligated to list his top 3 heaviest games. And he said, for the nitpicking intern, regularly means you remember the last time you played and expect to play it in the foreseeable future. Hey guys, so what's the heaviest game you play regularly? Ignacy, why don't you go first?
Yeah, this is a very difficult question. I was checking my BGG stats before recording to find a game, and there's a problem because I play not many games regularly. Like my ratio is play 3 times a game, and that's it, right? So I couldn't find a game that I could say very honestly that regularly I play this heavy game. There is a War of the Ring, which I played in the last year twice, which let's say is regularly. But basically, like we play so many new games and we are playtesting so many games. So I'm not a good person to answer this question. I'm sorry.
I I also tend to just follow trend of the new. So when new games come, I do play them at least once. But in the most recent slate of new games, I've played uh, Recall a bunch, and I've played Inferno a whole bunch, and those are pretty heavy games. As far as all time, not going by the trends of what's new and exciting, some regulars for me are Russian Railroads and Anno 1800, Martin Wallace, which is my son's favorite game, our illustrious editor.
Wow.
So those get pretty regular play.
Very good. And I will answer for him War of the Ring and Terraforming Mars. No, seriously.
Yay.
And well, and you know,
Cheater.
I would no Terraform well and I don't know the Terraforming Mars is really heavy. I would consider it medium weight, but anyway, the Terraforming Mars I play a lot because I play it online a lot with my old friends from New Jersey. That's how one of the ways we get together to hang out. We have an ongoing game. So that was the game I played the most by far. War of the Ring, of course, I get to play regularly, but regularly doesn't mean very often. It just means half a dozen times a year or so, at least sessions. I might play 2 games in a session if I have the time.
I
I'd
think the
say
nitpicking intern defined regularly for you.
you remember last time you expect to play again in the foreseeable future, and I guess that my answer will be Arc Nova. Uh, I do play that a decent amount. I was playing it more. Um,
Yeah.
before like I don't know like before last year I played it quite a bit last year. I haven't played it this year again, but I guarantee I'll be playing it again in the relatively near future. I think it's a really great game, and I gotta say on BGA that implementation is so good. It does all the math for you. It's so wonderful. So that's where I play it the most when I play it.
And
That's cheater talk.
if we may make a fun of board gamers, we can say that we regularly, all 3 of us, play role-playing games, and the book for the role-playing game is like 300 pages. So this is very complex, right?
Yeah,
It's an
absolutely.
incredibly long instruction manual.
Uh, Yeah, you know my new love of the One Ring second edition and trying to figure out all of its differences from every other role-playing game I've ever played uh, definitely puts it in the list of heavy games that I'm playing. Lion Godshaw, how would you say that last name? I think it might be
Show.
Gashaw? Lion Gashaw, who's at King Cat 123, asked us a question, and we weren't exactly, sorry, Lion, we weren't exactly understanding what you meant. So maybe we'll just go with the interpretation of
So
it.
we're going to answer whatever we want.
Right. Right, and
For a change, right?
Ignacy actually came up with the interpretation here. So instead of me actually reading it, hey, see, we actually looked at the questions beforehand. At least some of us looked at the questions beforehand. So we think that the question meant if a game has if you're playing a game and the winner is absolutely known uh, at some point, is it okay to just end the game? Ignacy, is that what your
Yeah, yeah.
interpretation was?
I think so, because he says in a game of the open information, so we know everything was on the table. If the opponent can tell you, yes, I can already win, it is open information, you can see it, do we continue to play? This is how I interpret the question. And if we had such a situation, if we do things like that, and I have to say that I have a friend of mine with whom I play often, regularly, and he has mathematical skills like these gamers, these crazy gamers do have. And I was a couple of times in a situation when we played a game, and then at some point I was super surprised. At some point he says, "I won," and I said, "What?" And he said, "Look at this. You cannot win anymore," and he stops the game. Or sometimes he was telling me, "You won," and I was surprised that I already won because I didn't see it. And he said, "Hey, look, I cannot stop you anymore." And he stopped. And he is impatient, so he doesn't want to play till the end of the game. He says, "It's done. I see it. It's all open impression," and he stops the game. It always surprises me of ways if I win or he wins. But I have only one geek, one friend like that who's doing that.
And see, I tend to go to the end, and I'm open to discussion if someone says, this is getting strange, maybe we should end it. And I'm open to that discussion, but I'm almost never the person who will bring that up. My interpretation of the question is I think he's asking if you, in an open game with open information, if you see that the other person's doing really well and they don't see it, do you tell them? Do you help each other play the game to the best of their ability? Or do you say, well, this is a competition. I'm not going to give him more information and help myself lose?
I have a
And in
story.
that sort of situation, I tend to definitely give info to the other player. I will strategize both for myself and for the other player in their advantage. I'll say, "Oh, wow, you could do this and this, and that would be really cool. And man, it would hurt me badly." I am not beyond saying things like that all the time. The games are not about winning for me. They're
Yeah.
about the experience and the mechanisms and things leading to things leading to things, the combo-tastic nature of board games. And I love exploring
I have a crazy story.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
that.
Yesterday I played with my wife Mary the game called Through the Ages. Pretty awesome game.
Yep.
And
A
she
nice
made a
light
couple of
game.
mistakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Heavy,
And she
heavy.
made a couple of mistakes at the beginning of the game, and I was trying to help her, and I was doing what you just Corey said, giving her advice. This works different. Hey, do that. Like I was trying to help her. And each time I was doing that, she was yelling at me to stop interfering with her, and she knows what she's doing, and I should shut up. So at some point, I shut up and I stopped helping her. And for the whole game, which those of you who know the game, that it takes like 3 hours to play,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mention to her that she misunderstood the icons and she thought she's getting victory points, but she was getting invention points, which has a different icon. So she
Oh,
was very
no.
proud gathering inventions instead of scoring points. But I was so angry at her that I shut up. And that at the end of the game, I said, "This is a score. You have almost no points," and I won. And then she yelled at me again. That was a very difficult game night.
Wow. That's not a good way to spend 3 hours with your wife. Getting
Marriage,
that.
No,
marriage is a
no,
different
no,
thing,
no.
you know.
That's funny. Um, I've obviously I've ended games early when we thought that the game was over, mostly because the game was like degrading and almost, So we knew the person was going to win, and the game was dragging. So we just said, yeah, okay, you win. That's happened a lot to me. So that's how I would answer it. And I even forgot what Corey said was his interpretation of the question. I don't care. I'm too tired. Ron Graves.
Final scoring.
You're doing
Are,
great,
are we
Steven.
going? Are we going too long? But no, we're okay, right? Was at least one more question, right?
One
All
more
right.
question.
Ron Graves from Canada. He's at Buckaroo. Hey, Ron. As a general statement, it is probably fair to say that the hobby game industry has changed significantly since each of you entered the business in some capacity. Darn right. From your perspective, what has been the single best change within the industry affecting day-to-day business operations? the best change that has affected business operations. On the flip side, what do you miss from those early days that is pretty much gone that you wish still existed? Oh my gosh, what a hard question in my current,
That is really tough.
yeah.
Uh, I'm gonna say I miss surprise releases. It's I
Hmm.
feel that when I started in the industry, there were more companies that kept completely silent all the way up till release. And you would get big, huge game releases that you knew nothing about, that you had no hint was coming, and all of a sudden, bam, there it was, and you could buy it. And that's really exciting. But I think that is almost gone.
Ron is actually talking more, Corey, I believe, about the business of running a company within the industry. I don't think he means
Well, that's part of the business. That's a business side of how
oh,
releases are managed
true.
and marketing leading up.
True, you've cheated on that question. Very good. Okay. Ignacy, would you like to anything good that has changed on the business side and anything you missed from the early days?
Yeah, when I was preparing for this question, I was debating with myself how to answer it, and I had a super hard time coming with something else than just Slavic Ignat. I don't see no single improvement in my business operation in the industry. I don't like the changes that happened over these last, I don't know, 15 years.
Yeah.
And I wish I give some positive answer, but I really prefer the industry in 2012, 13, 15, and then now in 2026. So I'm so sorry to be so Slavic, but this is the show. Steven is sleepy. I am Slavic. Corey can save us.
So,
I I had a number of things that I don't like in recent times, and I was trying not to be Slavic. So
Yes, that's my job here, right?
well,
no,
you
I'm
know,
gonna
most of my family's from Belarus. I come with it genetically. Um,
Awesome.
but I mean, one of the big things is I feel that game design is becoming crowdsourced to a certain extent. People hear about what you're doing and will so aggressively throw out ideas that designers, publishers are changing their games in response to public reaction. And this includes the whole idea of every game has to have a two-player version, a solo version, a co-op version, a competitive version, a legacy version, variants. I think we're hurting the final design by using the must please everybody model.
But this is
Um,
extremely interesting point that you are making. I remember the beginnings of Awaken Realms, my friend says, here from Poland, and they had this first big Nemesis campaign. And Michael Orach, who works at Awaken Realms, he's my best friend, and we talk a lot about design, and he was explaining me how it differs. He worked for Portal Games for years, and then he moved to the Awaken Realms, and we were debating about game design, and he said exactly what you just said. He said that, Ignacy, we are just putting our concept for our game, we show what we want to achieve, and then we read the concepts, and our whole development team is analyzing, thinking, and adjusting, and this is like brainstorming to create the best game. So on one hand, in your opinion, and probably in mine too, it is too much put the accent on the peoples or the crowds. But on the point of view of Michael Orach, it was great. These are like, brainstorming how this game should be the best for the people. So I completely agree what you just said.
in my sleep deprived state, my answer is that I'm on the Slavic side of this question. The good old days were the good old days for a reason. It was just a lot easier to run a company back then. It was a lot easier to produce games. The competition was so much smaller than it is today. So much less product was coming out. It was easy to bring out good games and get them noticed. And now it is so hard to do that. So I agree with what Ignacy said. There's not a lot of better things happening now. The better things are on the gamers' side on some level, because they have a huge choice, and the games
Now,
are and the games are better, right? I mean, let's just face it,
that's what I was going to say. That
ga- games are better.
games and game design has improved, but
Absolutely has.
I think
But we are talking about the business side of running
the
company.
business side, I think, is harder.
Right, exactly, exactly. And with that note, we are gonna go to playtesting. Corey, take it away. It's your question. You can do it.
Oh, I had a nice controversial question. So, my question was, is chess actually a good game, or are we just used to it? Has it just been played forever? Likewise, is Monopoly a good game, or is it just the game that society knows well as the gold standard board game? Name some games that you believe are good games, ones that can actually compare well and hold up to modern hobby board games from prior to, and we picked a random date of 1940.
Right. And Corey, did you get any stats out of what people said? Usually come up with some stats. Like, did we get yeses to
I
chess and Monopoly?
we got almost no yeses to Monopoly. People hate Monopoly. But chess got a lot of pushback. People love chess. And I will say on the record, I think chess is a classic example of an archaic game. It has a million random rules that make no sense, but we accept them all because they've always been that way. I think that it is a competitive two-player abstract game that people can get good at, and it is skill-based rather than luck-based. So people do really like it, but I don't think it's a well-designed game.
Or the modern hobby? True. So we have some
Yeah.
people who have answered us, and we have Henny Zetterberg from Sweden, and he would say yes, chess is a good game, emergent gameplay that comes from actions of all players. The main downside could be that it could feel samey with the same setup every time. Monopoly is also a good game, but with some critical issues like runaway leader. The game can drag out for quite some time, hardly any player agency, etc. And some really good games are that are older are backgammon and poker. Both are games with lots of luck, but where their most skilled player often wins. I agree with that statement, Kenny. Thank you. Gentlemen, anything you found out there that looks good?
Uh, John Knost said that every question I ask here is controversial, which thank you, thank you, thank you. This one might be more so because the answer by definition is going to be subjective. How does one define good? Chess is a good game. It has been played forever because it is good. Even though it has been around for 5 centuries, it retains its value as a game people can learn relatively young and spend a lifetime exploring and enjoying. Monopoly is a good game. Many people inadvertently or ignorantly play it as a much worse version of itself by incorporating popular house rules, but it has stood the test of time in part because people have fun playing it. Good games from before 1940. He lists Cribbage, Backgammon, Crokinole, Liar's Dice, Pit, all excellent choices. I think they're all very good games. And all sorts of card games that use a standard 52 card deck of playing cards. Uh, I just want to go out
Yeah,
there and say that the standard 52 card games, again, are archaic, tend to have a whole bunch of random rules piled up, and we accept them because our parents played them and our grandparents played them.
yeah. But in this comments and answers from our listeners, basically we have like 3 or 4 titles coming up over and over again. So there's not many games from before the day that we put here because there's about the Go, Othello, Bridge, only these games.
Right.
Nate,
Othello is actually relatively recent. I think Othello doesn't count, but Othello is
okay.
Go.
And Nate wrote, chess is a terrible game from the perspective of inviting friends over and having some laughs together. Obviously, as we say in our podcast and interviews, the board game hobby is so wide and there's so many categories of the games. And you have, of course, party games and you have, of course, abstract strategy games. So yes, chess is not a party game, but in the abstract category, it's pretty solid.
There you go. Adrian H., who I have to take this question, this answer from. He's from Melbourne, Australia. Chess is good in that it's a tense abstract game, but I'd rather play Star Wars Rebellion or any other two-player game that's got more theme. Or if it's abstract, something much quicker like Santorini, where you have special powers that make each game a bit different. Monopoly felt like it was a good game when I was young and didn't have much other choice. Even with my extensive collection of games, my kids fell into enjoying Monopoly as well. But partly because the other kids knew how to play it. It's mostly they knew how to play it, and they could get it to the table, and it had IPs that they liked. However, once they hit their teens, they definitely gravitated away to more hobby games. So it's quote good at something, but like its playtime, it outstays its welcome. And then the old games that he say are good, old games that I think are good, Canasta, which is the 52 card deck type thing, has a large resurgence in our family, especially as a travel game with some family jokes and banter. So very good, very good. Anything else sticks out, or we'll move on to next week's question? Corey?
We
I
move
think
because yes, we need to save you.
we're going a little long. And next week's question is kind of along the same lines.
That's why I
So,
put it here, because I choose the question, even though you write the question.
yeah. So next week's question, how do you think chess would fare via crowdfunding in a world where the game never existed previously? How about D&D? How would D&D fare on crowdfunding if there was no knowledge of role playing?
How
So again, an extension of how would these older games survive in today's environment?
Well,
Um, yeah,
you
I,
know,
I
here's
think role playing is kind of a mind-blowing concept, and I think D&D would succeed. I don't think chess would succeed on crowdfunding.
there are
If
people
nobody
who
heard before about role-playing games, and then we have the first crowdfunding for the role-playing game like Dungeons and Dragons, I think that would be so weird and difficult to perceive that it could not be very successful. This is so revolutionary. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't. The question's a little vague, Corey. Does it mean that nobody's ever heard of a role-playing game, and how would it do? I mean, maybe you want to rewrite it a little bit because if nobody had
Yeah,
ever heard of it, um, and all of a sudden a
I think
game
it.
like
I think it has to be that concept. We're saying, how would chess fare if nobody knew about chess? Certainly, abstract games are a concept that there can be no beginning to. And D&D, you have to go with the assumption that there were no role-playing games because D&D was kind of the gold standard role-playing game.
yeah,
I mean, storytelling exists, and you could make a logical jump that storytelling and role-playing games can be the same thing. Storytelling competitions have existed for thousands of years, but we're talking about an actual role-playing game where you take on a character and go on
right.
imaginary adventures. I'm going to
Um,
say that did not exist previously.
right. So my answer to this would, if all of a sudden chess was put up, I mean, I think it would do terribly. Um, And in our modern gaming world, I think people would see it as like this is just, kind of silly. Why would I want to play such a
Over
game
convoluted.
that just, it's plays samey and things like that. So, no, I think that would do terribly. I think that a game like a role-playing game all of a sudden was invented, this new genre of things. Um, I think it probably would end up doing very well if it was pitched and marketed so that people understood what it was, because right, role-playing games are such a different type of category of hobby gaming. So that's me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right. Well, Ignacy, if he remembers how to, he's going to create a question
I
over there on our guild.
I cannot. I cannot.
You cannot because, oh, that's right. Corey has to do this because he's working on his daughter's computer. Corey, could you please put this two kind of related
I
questions here?
I will post the questions because Stephen is too sleepy to do it.
All right. And then
Would you like me to take care of the final scoring for you
yes,
so
you
you
know
can
what?
take a
Okay.
nap?
I'm gonna post the questions because you take too long. And let's get over to final scoring. Go ahead, Corey. Take it away.
Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Game Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel.
Woohoo.
Do you want to be part of this podcast? You can. Just go to our guild at Board Game Geek and first become a member of the guild if you're not, and then ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment and answer our question to you from our playtesting segment. Do this simply by posting the correct forum in the guild and help us make this podcast even better by engaging. Please interact with us on social media, and amazingly, it's the same handle on all platforms, so go for it. On Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and YouTube, go to at Board Games Insider, at Portal Games US, at Podfather Gaming, at Dice Tower Dish, at Play to Z Games, and at Above Board TV. So choose the social media or mediums of choice. You will be speaking directly to us on all of these platforms, and check out our websites as well, which are the same names. We're easy to find. We really would love to see you in person at an upcoming convention. So if you come to one of the ones that we talk about, if you are in the other side of the world, go visit Stephen. If you are around Poland, go visit Ignacy. And I, wherever I am bouncing to, if you happen to be in Seattle in the next week, it'll be tight, but we'll try to make something happen. Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Jake Thompson. I've met him once or twice. Thank you, Jake, for being part of the team. Also, that great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do your voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Does anybody have anything
You,
special, weird to talk about at the
you
end of the show?
you did a fairly good Bonagor impersonation. I'll give you credit. Fairly good. You don't have that lilt in your voice the way I do when I'm awake.
You mean the thick New York accent?
That or that.
So, uh, I actually was told about um, a really interesting project going on right now. This was an email that I got from Kirk W., who's the corset maker over in Berlin. And there is a game called The Idols from the company Unair Games. And The Idols is a game that is a satire of AI and capitalism, talking about the effects of AI within capitalism. And in theming, they have decided to very openly use AI art in their game to accentuate their theme of AI. And I thought this was both a brave move and a well thought out move. This is all online at unairgames.com. And basically, they're using AI art in the style of 1950s advertising for numerous reasons. They also had originally, when they started this project, had designed the game without AI art in mind, and they had hired an artist to do more than 120 original illustrations from Adriano Villarraga. And they've decided to open source these illustrations that they paid for, as long as the artist gets credited. So they're really checking all the dots. They're saying, no, we're not stealing art. No, we're not trying to talk about the glory of AI. No, we're not hiding AI art. We are using it in an ironic, thematic way to accentuate our game. And I thought this was a really interesting take on the whole AI controversy.
Awesome.
I don't get it.
I want, at the end of the show, I want to be for a second serious, Ignacy.
Okay.
And with my
Yeah,
whole
okay.
seriousness, thank Steven for staying so late to record the podcast. And we were making fun for the whole time. But man, you're a man. Congratulations. And I really respect that you stayed so long to record this podcast. Respect to you, sir.
I had a set. I went to sleep and I set my alarm to wake up.
You were
Just
right, Ignacy. Ignacy said that you had gone to sleep.
oh yeah, no, I went to sleep. I got back from my dinner with Eos and of course with a couple of beers, and I went, Paula, I'm gonna go to sleep now, and then we'll just wake up at like midnight and just do this stupid podcast.
Knowing how much trouble
Okay.
you do have staying up late, uh,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right. I
I
have
think it
to.
went great.
I'm going to have
Respect.
to be. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and I will leave you two with this in your head as we sign off, and tell all the listeners and open up here in a very, very, very special way. I did this podcast with no pants on. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.
Hey, me too. See you, everyone. You know
It's
Ignacy's the one
it's
wearing
it's
pants.
true.